Hey folks, we're back again. We're going to do some Spelljammer art. Let me fix my screen here real quick. There we go. All right, cool. We're going to do some artwork here. Give me a second to check my signal, go through my intro spiel, and then we'll do maybe 100 some odd minutes of Spelljammer art this morning. So, checking signal, 1, 2, 3. Check. Checking signal, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Cool. All right. Let's set up my intro here real quick, and then we will get to work. So, hey, my name is Theurgy. I create role-playing game supplements. I publish them online. There is a link, a slew of links to different books I've already created down below that you can check out. We create role-playing games. We build them into, we do the page layouts, and then we do all the illustrating here online. There's probably about 150 different illustrations among the works that are linked down below. I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. It's been my dream since I was a child to do artwork and create concepts for D&D, so I play on the DMsGuild for the time being until we know where the future leads us. If you want to follow me, I've just posted that I'm live on Twitter at Theurgy, so you can always get notifications that I'm live in the future if you follow me there, as well as, let's see, just posted live here, Twitter, and here is my YouTube. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to let YouTube know that they should continue pushing out this long form of process creation for folks to check out with me. So today, we're working on the last page of art for the spellcasting chapter of the Spelljammer's Combat and Exploration book that we're building. Sorry, just to bring your attention back to the STE book cover. Here's a cover that we created. You know what? We created this sphere, this air bubble sphere aesthetic after we had created the book cover. So I'm thinking I'm gonna have to come back in and make an atmospheric sphere around the around this Star Moth ship, and also around the Nautiloid here that are clashing in combat. But we'll get to that. It'll be a fun revision to make, but it's appropriate because all of the ships we've had consistently throughout these chapters have these fun air bubbles that encapsulate their atmosphere. So I want to keep that aesthetic on the book cover as well. But right now we're doing a boarding scene of an animated spiderling. We're calling it a rhino for now, just for the fun of it. And we've pretty much locked down language for the turrets, for the ballistas, as well as for the catapults. So I'm really pleased with that. It's consistent now across a couple different pieces. We've got our harpoon flinger here on the back of the beetle. So what we'll need to do is we'll need to colorize the beetle, or rather work on the shading for the beetle, and then drop in a star splash in the background, and then clean up and trim down the bubble to fit within the space that we have allotted for it. And then we can start adding the characters, all the NPCs and characters on the ship and on the rhino, engaging with each other in combat. So without further ado, I'm going to get to work here on the beetle, which you see is a chunk here. It's got line art here, and then it has its individual colors separated here, and we have this front sail here. So I want to get back into the screen, and we have a mask over the rhino so that it's interacting with the mast here. Just want to make sure that I get that all cleaned up proper. There you go. Cool, now he's properly interacting. Now we can start dropping in shades. So let's let's see, that's the body, abdomen, and legs. Deeper shading. Gonna block it in. These are taking me a while to produce, and I have an arbitrary goal of end of August to have this completed. But honestly, I'm concerned about me being able to complete it in that time frame. It's because the amount of attention that I'm giving each of the pieces that we're producing here. I know we haven't gotten into the schematic stuff in the areas of the book that are going to rely highly on these token style interactions to show interaction on a grid. That spellcasting is more theater of the mind than anything, because you strictly state just what are you doing with your spell, and then the effect happens. So that requires more actual illustration than tactical combat does. But maybe I'm blessed that I did the hard, slow part first, and that the rest of the document is going to move forward much more quickly. But I think I have to accept and be ready for another 20, 30 pieces needing this level of attention, which means that we aren't going to be able to produce them much more quickly than every 2 or 3 days. Some of them we can make in a day. Like a lot of the art that we've done in a single day. But I can't, I don't want to beat myself up if I end up needing more than that time to properly produce this. Because I'm doing this as hopefully something I can get paid back for doing. I'm putting it out there as a symbol of people appreciating the work that I do. But in all honesty, artists are gonna art, and I'm gonna do the work regardless. And this is just a massive long-term bucket list item for me. Since I was 12, I've wanted to do Spelljammer art. And although this isn't technically under Wizard's guise that I'm doing it, the sense of satisfaction and achievement here is pretty significant for me. Just to feel like I'm doing what I wanted to do, you know? So the process is gonna be the process. It's gonna take however long it's gonna take, and that's the slog. The disappointment that things aren't gonna get done as fast as I want them to. But surrendering to that truth allows me to flow freely and smoothly. Slow makes smooth, smooth makes fast is the maxim. And so I can be smooth with my work if I'm at peace. That's going to take time, and then that time can be resolved under its own accord. Which is why things usually take longer for me to finish than I want. It's a pattern. It's a recognizable pattern that I can hopefully start building more reliable projections on. some of this gunmetal over here. When you animate a ship for combat, you have the option of having it create a ram, either piercing, bludgeoning, or slashing. And here we've chosen slashing. There we go. Actually. I forgot to set my timer. I need a timer. There we go. Giant scythe on the front nose of this guy. This weapon is going to do 48 damage every time it hits, and the pilot has the same attack economy that they would at the 5-foot scale. You're basically, this is a 40-foot craft, so it's it has a at the 5-foot scale it has an 8x8 footprint. Here at the 50-foot scale, you can see these are 50-foot squares here and here. The spiderling is crawling into the 50-foot space here. That's all here. Let me go ahead. And see how much space that occupies here. And it's got the little 5-foot squares here. So if I just put it here. One square, then one square here. You can see it's an 8x8 space. One square, one square. Actually drop down in size just a touch. I'm going to be nitpicky about it. There. So it can fit in between these two masts here and squeeze its way in and start wreaking some havoc, which is what we've depicted here. Fits the scale. Hey, Shiner, it's good to see you, my guy. So yeah, having fun with this. We'll finish the shading on the ship. and then we'll start. We'll add in the backsplash of the stars, and then we'll start putting little meeples on deck here for us to kill. It's a boarding ship. This is depicting just an animated. It's the art is for here. Let's hide a reference image here. We've got awakened ships, and we have animate object and awakened ships. So if you awaken a ship, if you upscale, if you upcast the awakening spell, you can basically make your ship a living creature. And if you animate it, it just remains animated for as long as you maintain concentration for it. So it allows you to oh right, there you go. When a ship is animated, if it doesn't have a ram, you can choose a bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing ram, or change an existing ram if one is present. So while commanding a ship this way without a pilot, the maximum speed of the ship is not around. So the spider ship the spider ship that we are illustrating here doesn't have a prow ram. Its legs could be used as piercing rams, or piercing. They're not rams. They're piercing melee weapons. So it doesn't technically have a ram. So we add a giant scythe blade to the front nose of it. Now it kind of looks like even though it still has 8 legs, it kind of looks like a rhino beetle. So that's what we're doing. When I finish this supplement, one of the first things I want to do with to expand on it is talk about animated and living ships. Like what ships are really fun and cool to animate to become basically their own combat unit that can house enemy troops inside of. Kind of like how Matt Colville geeks out about Flea Mortals having a spider, a giant spider mount as a platform. Well, this is literally a giant mechanized spider that is a combat platform. So, I mean, you know, you can, you know, there are no original ideas. It's just execution. How well is it executed? How much fun is it upon doing so? But I'm going to fade this in. Yeah. I mean, they had the living ship that's in the Spelljammer's Adventures in Space guide, where they basically grow a treant into a tree, into a ship, and words carrying. And so so the whole ship is basically a living plant, so it provides nearly infinite air for the inhabitants aboard it. And that's a great step, but they don't really integrate the Trent into. I mean, they give him basically treats him as a trebuchet. So there's good stuff there, but yeah, being able to create and allow anything to become sentient, like for example, that supplement that I'm talking about, detailing, making a ship a sidekick. So like vessels are too large because they're hundreds of feet long, so those aren't practical. But some of the smaller, you can make smaller little fighter craft that you can then make into as an artificer subclass. You can make a living ship sidekick. A ranger could potentially take one on as an animal companion, and a paladin could use one as their summon mount. Yeah, that's the name of the spell, summon mount, I believe. But those three classes, those three combat classes specifically, would be able to benefit from having a living ship like that. Words, I'm still fighting. I'm mostly over my sick, but I've got steeping. Oh my god, it's gonna be so bitter. Hold on, I'll be right back. Got some tea. anonymity. Most of the soreness in my throat is gone, but there's still just a little bit of a patch of it. The 5-foot scale for the Spidercraft, and then the 50-foot scale for the Space Galleon. Oh yeah, we need to add mounted weapons. That's right. It's got a rack of mounted weapons on the back, ballistas in the front, catapult in the back. Here's our ballistas. The ballistas have these posts on them, so that if a character is here pushing it, you can wheel it around in the circle. You can have up to 3 people pushing it together, so you can turn it in either direction. So when we start putting characters down on the board, we'll start adding little figures that are, rotating these things around into position. And this has this also is rotatable, but it has a crew of 5 instead of 3. And in this illustration, we're just going to be focusing on the ballistas here, and then having the crew from the catapult running across deck to engage these guys in combat, while we'll have people up here and here, be able to do some spell fire back and forth. But yeah, we'll just have some meeples running around, just like little black stick figures, like outlined with a little bit of splash of color. Not a lot of detail at all, considering the scale of the illustration. You don't need much detail in those little characters at all, but they do need to be present. They do need to be respected. So, but I'm really happy about figuring out the mechanics behind the siege weapons, how I want them to look, how I depict rotating them, like these rotating discs being mounted onto the deck of ships as a weapon station to allow them to freely rotate without having to rely on any particular orientation of the ship, to be able to turn and hit targets, or to work with the ship, and to be able to roll the vessel over, to be able to fire at different things that you normally wouldn't be able to have. That's kind of a byproduct of hold on real quick. Line art. I'm gonna pick at this a bit. I want to pull back on the intensity on that. The line art's a little bit too crisp. Yeah. How do I feel about that? I'm good with the legs. I'm good with the legs with being that crisp. It's just this torso that I'm not necessarily happy with. All right, let's just continue shading, and then we will probably bond these down with each other. Yeah, I think we'll be able to safely merge all that stuff down with the color art once I am content with the color. So let's pick up the pace and resolve that. Sorry, I'm just looking at how crisp the line art is, and it's too pronounced. I want to blend it in. Plus, it's kind of shoddy line art. So if I blend it into the frame overall, it'll help reduce how garish it is. Give it the same sense of realism that we have for the vessel as a whole. Hey, Hornetica, it's good to see you, guy. Beep, beep, beep. Work it in. Work that in. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep. There's a pinch of something there, isn't there? There it is. And there. We go. We do this. We're here working 9 times a week, 6 days per week. We do Spelljammer art like this Monday through Friday in the mornings for 100+ minutes, Monday through Friday, and then Saturday morning we work on commission work. Right now we've been building the Bob Ross painting for. Joseph Vargas, also known as Ukulele Bard, for his upcoming role-playing game Reclement. And then on Mondays and Thursday nights, we create Ebron map. We do cartography for the Ebron adventure that we are working on that will publish on the DMsGuild once that is finished. And let's see, Tuesday, tomorrow will be continuation of the Martial Powers project, and we'll work on, I think we're working on the Swashbuckler. We're trying to finish out Rogue, so I think we're doing Swashbuckler tomorrow, and I think there's one more after that. And that's strictly 5e mechanic development. Once that document is done, we'll send that off to an editor. And when we get it back, we'll do page layouts and start building art for the Martial Powers project, just like we're doing like here. Once we get edits back finished for the Eberron adventure, then we'll do this for that project as well. So there's a shitload of art coming down the pipe. Let me get this guy out of the way, but he's gonna take however much time he requires to get done. Can't speed up the muse on that process. All I can do is assure I'm going to be happy with the results when I do. At least content enough for now. I go back and I look at some of my other work. It's like, wow, that was a rushed piece. I want to hopefully avoid being too rushed on this project because I really, really love doing ship art. Like all this Siege stuff was beyond me a couple of years ago. So I'm just delighted that I'm capable of producing these pieces now. I may have been able to do them. I mean, technically I probably could have, but I was just emotionally, I was too intimidated by it. I've finally gotten to a place where I'm emboldened enough to not feel like I can't produce a piece. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take for me to be content with the process, and then that time frame speeds up. Of course, my anatomy can always get better. My posturing and my gestures can always improve. But at some point, you got to be content that, you know, the work that you're doing is probably going to be a good taste of what your work is like. And then it's just a matter of refining and improving the style that you found yourself resonating with. Is the right word. Breathing some life into that beetle. Badman. Let's go over to the Badman. Yeah, I see I have some fancy lighting and stuff around it. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Oof! Wow, I'm shading directly into the color. That's not probably the best thing to do. But here we are. I've already done it. So cheers. Hey, Timely Timer. Thank you for keeping tabs. Let's take a sip of tea. Chase it with a sip of water and keep at it. So it's Monday. So we're doing this in the morning, and in about 12 plus hours, like typically around 7:30 is when I gear up for the Eberron cartography stream, and we're going to finish up the rooftop. Well, we're hoping to finish the rooftops of the buildings in the village that we've been working on for the past month or so. Yeah, that'll have to do. Yeah, I think it does. Okay. Let's add some of this into the blade. Very happy with that. Now let's go take a look at the legs and see what we can do with those. Don't don't want to lose too much of the detail, but I do need to be respectful of what the lighting is supposed to do. So I'm going to put some bands, add a little bit of color to the banding, make it pop out a little bit more so it can get blended into just the general coloration. Let's see here in a second. Let's see. Color in all these little bands and buckles and reinforcements, girds. Much better. Now, do we dare duplicate? Let's do that. Let's duplicate that layer, conceal that layer, merge this layer. Let's see if us trimming at it a little bit by bonding everything down into the same layer can get rid of a little bit of the line weight where we don't need it. Need a line here to separate the background. Oh, that's right. That's why we need the star splash. This is the point where we need to insert star splash. So let's curl this up here and here. let's go fishing for that'll do. Duplicate that layer. Open this up. Here, don't need references right now. Ah, face. Free transform. Boom, 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 boom. Like that. Next thing we're going to do is start masking it out. I'm going to start blending this in. And then we'll separately blend out the air bubble so it doesn't get in the way of the text. Similar to the other piece that we were doing the other day, which is what, here, right? See, you can have the oops, this is missing its rainbow splash. Let's give it its prismatics, its color spray. But you can see we got the bubble is hemmed out here at the bottom. It doesn't get in the way of the text, but the bubble still is intact. So we'll do the same with this. Once we resolve all of the backsplash of the stars. You can see all the flaws that are around the outline of the beetle, as well as like the boat here. We can clean up all that, any of that dredge that's along the edges that don't need to be there anymore. Hacking at it with 100% opacity here, as you can see how much is creating this little rufflage, this little cottony texture. general gist of it. We can drop down to a much lower opacity, like 30, where are we at, 40? Start smoothing this in. And I can use the angle of the smudge here to work with the alignment of the ship to help it just feel a little more cohesive. Doesn't have to follow any particular rules. I like pushing in the space here into the back, like behind the ships. I can continue to nitpick at this as much as I want, but I don't necessarily think it's good screen time material. Like, this is the type of stuff I should probably futz with off screen. But I wanted just to give a few minutes of attention to it because it's important. It's part of the process. You gotta see at least a little bit of it. Something like that, and then similarly blended like that. So it doesn't interfere with the text. The text is the most important part, regardless of what aesthetics I like. So we always have to be able to create these things to be able to respect the space that they have to sit inside of. So the mask layer is very much my friend in this process. So I was talking about having a navigation bar across the bottom here to be able to flip from page to page, and this is kind of getting in the way of that. I'm not sure how I want to resolve that specifically. So for now we're here. What if I were to put a big splashy something here in the back? That feels fun. Take your timer. Keep it going. Where are we at? 7:12. We still got 40 minutes. Good. Not saying much today. I think part of that's my throat. But it'll always just be me falling into a space. I'm thinking about Bigby's Giants book that's coming out, I think later this month. Is it out already? It might already be out. I'm not sure. Just thinking about how large giants are. And how much fun it would be to use this 50-foot scaling to represent giant homes, or just interacting with giants in general at a much larger scale. Smoking it in. Boop, boop, boop. See, I can futz with this shit forever. So I'm trying to break up the chunkiness of the texture from the brush itself, those are called artifacts, when you can see obvious brush strokes inside of a digital painting. And sometimes the style complements that idea, depending on like how comic-y it is, you know. I only like maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, like a 1 as far as like artifacts are concerned. I'm doing these little crescents and circles, little wispy effects, like making clouds with Bob Ross. Lifting and fluffing and stirring. That's not horrible. Not great though. I think there's some text going on over there on the side of the page, and I haven't been attending to it. What's up? Right on, Shiner. Thanks for swinging by, my guy. I'll see you on the other side, my friend. There we go. Just about finished futzing up. Like that. Okay, that looks pretty cool. I think we're at the point where, oh, that's right, we wanted to boop, boop, boop. Trim up that line art a little bit. Just picking at the line art here. Doo-doo-doo. Do. I will unironically need to outline this frame again. Do that. 2. It feels better. Uh-oh. We're on our last 20-minute stretch. So I'm going to go ahead and keep working on the structure of this, and then tomorrow morning when we come back, we'll start adding characters. That'll be fun. When this piece is finished, we'll start a new chapter. We'll move out of here and probably go back up into the equipment section. Flesh that out. really leaning in. My posture is horrible. Generally an indication of honestly, it's a lack of confidence. That's generally what that posture means. That I haven't quite figured out what I'm doing. Hmm. Good. I think that is looking, let's grab this color here, put it in on top here, just do a little edge work. Little bit of rim. I know I spent that time blending the line art in, and now I'm adding more line art. That's because I wanted the overall structure to blend in together, and now I can use just a little bit of highlight to help differentiate that form. Now it feels like it's more integrated into the actual piece itself. There. Actually, like there. Cool. I think that's just very, very pretty. Where are we at? We're at 7:45 right now. We still got some left in us. Let's go down, drop that into the trash. We got this fun space in between the Rhino and the deck of the Galleon. Nice. Let's see now. We have the front sail, mid sail, back sail. We need to oh shit. Oh, sweet. We didn't fuck up. Good. Not fucking up is good. Sail and sail. So let's see about adding mask layers to all these sails. What does that do for us? Disable that layer so we can see this one a little more smoothly. I like this the etherealness that we've got going with the sails here across the different pieces. This feels nice. This is another mask layer to just subtly blend in. transparency in the middle of the sail with the rest of the piece poking through. Like sails really conceal a lot of action that can happen on a deck. So if you're depicting sails full sail, you're basically blocking off most of the activity is going to be on your ship's deck. So this translucent aesthetic allows us to see through onto what's going on in the actual ship itself, and I think it kind of adds to the magic aesthetic of what Spelljammer is, while de-emphasizing the importance of rigging. Like the sails feel almost symbolic here. Obviously, other ships don't need sails at all, so the sails aren't truly important unless you're going to be floating on a body of water, like catering to the rules of Waterdeep of spelljamming ships can only approach by sea. That's why you see so many galleons and trade ships and stuff that are capable of performing water maneuvering, because depending on who they want to deal trade with is going to set up those rules. But these translucent sails could potentially catch wind just as easily as they can catch solar wind. So, astral wind. It technically doesn't matter. They're just aesthetic here. What? Really? Jesus Christ, that 20 minutes just disintegrated. I know I'm in my flow state when time moves like that. That's a shame. We're gonna have to pack it in. I can finish this up real quick though. There, now we can continue on with Alright, so when we're back tomorrow morning, we should be I'm supposed to be on this layer here. Right. We'll be working on the people on deck on the two ships. In combat. Still figuring out the language on how much sail and how much translucence there should be. So this is a discovery process between the two of us. I fill that in a little bit more. Cool. Cool. All right. That's good. All right. So when we pick up next time, we're going to add in all the people combating on the ships, and that'll finish this piece. Let's turn that back on. We can hide the references at this point. Nice. All right, guys. I'll be back in about probably 11.5 hours ish, so around 7:30. It's 8 o'clock here in Seattle, so at about 7:30 tonight, we'll be back working on Eberron cartography. We'll be back tomorrow morning to add in crew members on deck for both of these ships in combat. Tomorrow at lunch, we'll do Marshall Powers system developments, and then we'll just continue flowing the week from there forward. So, thanks a lot for anyone that's hanging out. If you know where I lurk on Discord, you're welcome to reach out to me. If you have any questions, you can hit me on Twitter as well at Phil Kearney. If you want to support me in general, Patreon's $1. Just a tip to encourage my efforts. There's a slew of books that are in the description down below that are on sale currently, up to 40% off for Dungeons and Dragons, all alternate mechanic options. So I'll see you guys in hopefully in 11ish hours. So see you then. Cheers.